Welcome back to the Painted Peach. Today we're making a cardinal sign for the 12 days of Christmas, day number 5. Today is hosted by Rustic and Lace DIY, Krista's Crafty Life, and this is day number 5, Christmas signs. For this video, we are going to make a cardinal sign, and this is a sign that I actually made for a benefit and sold to support a friend. So, I don't have this sign anymore. I did make another one that someone else bought, and I was just so in love with these. I really want to make some more, but I'm going to share with you today the process of making them. So I am cutting off the pieces of the stencil, and I'm just adding a bit of fuzz to them. This helps it not pull up any paint or stick to the surface and mess up my stencil. I have this little cutout, and we are going to put that little stencil right on there. It fits perfectly, and we are going to use some chalk paste. This is a chalk couture product, and we're going to use a squeegee and add that straight onto our bird. We're using a little bit of a darker color than I typically would use for a red bird, but this one has a little bit of glitter in it. It's like a mica powder. And then we're using some orange for that beak. And here's how it looks so far. So now we're going to use the other piece of the stencil set to finish it up. First, I'm going to give it a really good dry so that none of this paste comes up or smears when I add the next stencil. So make sure you fuzz this one really good so you don't pull up any of the paste that you already have on your little bird, and then you're just going to line this stencil right up where you did the other. Now I'm going to take some black chalk paste and go over the whole thing, and it only goes through where that mesh area is, and it makes the outline of your cardinal. Alright, then you're just going to make sure it's good and dry before you move on. Try not to touch anything or smear it. And here I'm showing you that I spray it down with a clear acrylic Mod Podge spray, just to make sure that that paste never comes off, because it is water soluble, so it will smear if you got it wet without sealing it. Now I'm taking this surface that I got from Hobby Lobby. I always buy them when they're 90% off, and then I repurpose them. I'm going to take this wood scrapbook paper. It's like a birch wood, and we are going to Mod Podge that right on this sign, right over the old sign. We're not going to paint it or anything because this scrapbook paper will not show what's underneath. I love using scrapbook paper for my backgrounds, but I do make sure that I always seal with that Mod Podge spray because I don't want anything wetting that paper. Like if you were to drop something on it, you don't want to mess up your sign. All right, now I have some greenery that I've gotten out, and we're going to start embellishing this sign. This ended up being one of my favorite projects ever, and I kind of wish I didn't do it in the fundraiser, but you know, it did make some money for that person, so I was very grateful. I'm just using some quick and thick Titebond, I believe is what it's called, and I'm gluing that down so it stays for good. If I was just to hot glue it, there's a chance that that sucker would come off there, and we don't want that. I'm going to tear off some of this music sheet to use, and we're going to, I have actually done a stencil on there that says a little saying. I'll have to remember what that says. You'll see it at the end. And we are going to add that directly onto the paper on our sign. I'm making sure it's torn where it's not even, and it just looks nice and rustic. So we're going to add the little bird on there and this little piece of paper of the music, and we're going to use Mod Podge to attach that straight onto that birch scrapbook paper. I'm going to add a little bit of Mod Podges on the edge just to make sure it stays down. And then we're going to glue our bird on. I do use that quick and thick and that hot glue to add my bird just so I can make sure it stays. But I put this little Jenga block back there to make sure it doesn't you know, tilt. I wanted it to stay away from the back of the board. So here I am making sure it's nice and secure. And then we are going to embellish this a little bit further. I have some of the spackle, and we are going to add some baking soda to that. And that gives it a little bit more texture. This spackle would be fine just by itself, but I find that when I add the baking soda in there, it gives it more of that snow text kind of feel. And when it dries, it hardens really well. It doesn't kind of chip off like it does if you were just to add spackle. So I just make it pretty thick, and then I start using my fingers to add it on there. I find that's the easiest way to add it. You could put on gloves. I do not. I don't care about getting messy. I like to get messy when I craft. Like they say, if you're not getting messy, are you having fun? No, but seriously, it's really a lot easier with your fingers to just add it on there where you want it. And you can get it looking realistic, like it's dropped on there like a snowbank. And I really, really love the touch that this added to this sign. I'm doing something a little out of character for me. I'm adding some glitter on there while that is still wet, and that just gives that icy look. I do add glitter during Christmas. I'm just not a glittery girl. I did decide that I needed to take that red bird off and redo it because it was moving around on me, and I realized I really didn't add that quick and thick Titebond. So I added some of that and got it going back on there so it could be more secure forever. All right, so now we needed to add a bow. I created this bow before the video. Everybody knows how to make bows. Well, if you don't, then don't watch me because I'm not the best bow maker. But I thought this needed a bow, and I added the little red bird ribbon and some lacy burlap ribbon in there. And I think it was the perfect touch to add to it. Now I'm adding a little heart on my red bird. I just thought it was beautiful, and then it has a little outline also that goes on it, and I think it added the sweetest little touch to this project. I do make sure I secure that well as well with the wood glue, the Titebond. And then I take my same red that I used on the red bird, and I paint the inside of that heart. I think it just is so sweet. And here it is all finished up. And here is the next one that I created, which I love even more. I want to thank you for joining me for my cardinal sign for the 12 days of Christmas, day number 5. And I want to thank my hosts, Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY and Krista from Krista's Crafty Life, for putting on this playlist. There are many days before this one and many days to come. There are 12 days of Christmas with us, so check out that playlist link in my description. You can also find the playlist link for all the previous days in there as well. There are links for Brenda and Krista's channels also. If you like what you see here, give me a thumbs up. Think of subscribing to my channel and hitting that bell so you never miss a video. And as always, stay peachy. I'll see you next time.